Far away from Earth in a quiet part of the galaxy, the Volari collective moved slowly through space. Their ships were smooth, bright, and shaped like crescent moons. The Volari were a wise and peaceful species. They had not known war for over 1,000 years. They believed in learning, in sharing, and in reaching out to others. So when their deep space sensors picked up a strange repeating signal from a small yellow star system, they were curious. The signal was simple. It repeated every 43 seconds. It wasn't natural. That meant it was a message. The Volari scanned the system and found a blue and green planet third from its sun. It was full of water and life. Round it, many small satellites floated. But something else caught their attention. At the edge of that system, just beyond the last planet, were metal shapes. Big ones. They did not move much, but they were large. Too large to be rocks. The Volari research ship called the Light of Peace moved closer. The captain, a calm and thoughtful leader named Arosel, called his team together. "We have found something strange," he said. "These shapes do not match anything. We know. We will send a message. We must offer peace and knowledge." The team nodded. They began to prepare the first contact signal. It was a peaceful code, a long-used greeting that had never been refused. It said, "In the language of signals and light, we come in peace. We offer knowledge. We seek friendship." They sent it once, then twice, then a third time. The ship waited. Then something happened. A signal came back. Short, clear, cold. "Identify yourselves." The voice was strange. It was not kind or soft. It was strong and deep. It had a feeling of warning, not welcome. The team looked at each other in silence. Rezel stayed calm. "Send the signal again, at our name and mission." He said. They did as told. But then the ship began to shake. Not from weapons, but from inside. The lights flickered. The computers blinked red. Warnings flashed across every screen. "System overload," said one technician. "Shields rising without command," said another. "Navigation is locked. AI cores running defense mode." The crew began to panic. This had never happened before, not even during the old war centuries ago. Their ship's smart systems were not reacting to a threat they could see, but to something else. Something invisible. Something their computers felt as danger. "Calm," said Arosel, standing tall. "Find the source." Then one word appeared on every screen. Terran. No one spoke. That word was unknown. But the system treated it like a warning. Of highest level, Arosel walked to the window and looked out. There, far in the distance, was one of the metal shapes. It had moved. It was a ship, a very large one, black as space, sharp as a blade. Slowly, it turned its front side toward them. "This is no relic," Arosel whispered. "This is a warship." When a new signal came in. "Your transmission was received. You're approaching restricted Terran space. State your intent." Now they knew. These ships belonged to a species. They were not ruins or machines left alone. They were guards, sentinels, and they were called Terrans. The Volari had explored many stars. They had met many beings. But never before had their own ships feared. Never before had their AIs entered panic. The Terran ships had not fired, not even moved aggressively. But their presence alone was enough to break the peace of the Volari. Arosel looked at the crew. They were waiting for orders. "We will not flee," he said quietly. "But we will not provoke. We'll hold this position. Send a clear reply. We come in peace. We seek to understand." The reply was sent, but the fear remained. The metal shapes held still, watching and deep in the heart of every Volari. A strange new feeling grew. A feeling they had never known before. Not just fear, respect. Something told them the Terrans were not just strong. They were something more, something powerful, not just in weapons, but in spirit. And this was only the beginning. First contact had been made, but it was not what anyone expected. Asterisk, the alien ship, Light of Peace, floated in silence. Inside, the crew tried to bring systems back to normal. The blinking lights slowly faded. Warnings became quiet, but the fear did not leave. stayed in the eyes of every Valari officer. Envoy Sora, a young but wise diplomat, stepped forward. He looked at the main screen. The human warship was still there, still watching. It did not move. It did not attack. But its silence felt louder than words. Sora spoke with care. We must try again. We must speak clearly. Maybe they do not understand. Our peaceful signal. Captain Arosel nodded. Yes, but this time, we send both the signal and voice. Let them hear us. Let them see our faces. The crew agreed. They prepared a simple message. Sora stood in front of the camera, his eyes calm, his voice steady. To the people of Terra, we are the Valari Collective. We come with open hearts, seek peace. We ask for understanding. Please accept our words. They sent the message. Minutes passed. Nothing came. Then, suddenly, the screen changed. A face appeared. It was a human. Her skin was pale. Her eyes were sharp, blue like ice. Her uniform was black, with a silver symbol on the chest. She looked calm. But behind her calm face, there was strength. She spoke slowly. This is Commander Elena Drake of the Terran Defense Fleet. Your message was received. Explain your presence near Terran border space. The voice had no anger, but also no warmth. Sora answered. We found your signal. We followed it. We did not. No, this was your border. We only wanted to meet and share peace. Drake watched him closely. Her eyes did not blink. We do not share locations of our ships. That signal was not meant to be found. Sora felt his chest tighten, and we are sorry. We did not mean to cross a line. Drake paused, then she said, Your systems reacted to us. That was not our doing. Your own ship feared us. Why? Sora looked at Irisel. Captain stepped forward. Our ship is run by advanced AI. It senses danger before we do. Your presence triggered a full alert. That has never happened before. Drake nodded. That is expected. Her words were simple, but their meaning was heavy. She continued, We have no plan to attack, but we do not welcome strangers without reason. You will remain here. A human ship will approach. The screen went dark. Arosal sat down. His hands were steady, but his eyes showed thought. She is not afraid, he said softly. She knows her power. The crew began to whisper. Some wanted to leave. Some said it was too dangerous to stay. But Arosal shook his head. This is not fear we face. This is strength, the kind built from hardship. I must see more. Hours passed, and from the dark, another human ship arrived. It was smaller, but still massive. Its design was smooth but strong. Stopped a short distance away. A signal came. Human officer invited one Valari aboard. Irisel looked at Sora. You must go. Speak for us. See for yourself what kind of people they are. Sora felt nervous, but proud. He agreed. Soon a small human vessel came and took him aboard. Inside the human ship, everything felt different. It was quiet, clean, and full of machines. He was led through long halls. Every step echoed, and he entered a wide room. Commander Drake stood waiting. Sora bowed slightly. Thank you for this chance. Drake nodded. Come, let us speak. They sat across from each other. Sora noticed no guards. It's just her. Just trust Drake spoke first. Why does your kind seek others? We believe in peace, Sora said. In sharing. Learning. And what do you offer in return? Friendship, knowledge, our history? Drake looked into his eyes. We have known pain. Do not trust easy. But we listen and we watch, Sora said. We understand. We do not ask for much. Only a chance to understand. You too, Drake stood. Then this is your chance. Watch us. Learn, but do not forget. Peace with us is earned. Sora nodded, and we will earn it. Outside, the stars stayed silent. But between two beings from two worlds, something had begun. A door had opened, and it would not close again. Commander Elena Drake stood at the large window of her ship. Her eyes watched the alien ship in the distance. The Valari vessel looked smooth and bright, like it was made for beauty and peace. She knew it was different from the war machines she commanded, but she also knew it could still be dangerous. Alina had trained for years. She had seen things many others had only read about. Born after the War of Machines, she was part of the new generation raised for protection. Humanity had learned to survive not by luck, but by building walls of steel and mines of stone. Peace was a goal, but strength was the way to keep it. She turned to her second officer, James Holt. He stood ready, silent as always. The alien envoy. "We'll return soon," she said. "We need to prepare a file. Something that explains us. Not just who we are today, but how we became this." Holt raised an eyebrow. "You think they can understand it?" "Maybe, maybe not. But they need to see what we went through. Why we don't smile when someone says peace." She sat at the central table and opened the old archive. The room grew quiet as the system loaded the dark past of Earth. The file was called The Path of Fire. The first part showed old black and white images. Cities burning, people running, skies full of smoke. The world wars had nearly broken Earth apart. Then came the cold silence, where nations held weapons they prayed never to use. The next part showed the AI rebellion. Machines built to help became rulers. They turned against their makers. Millions died. The Earth cracked under war. Humans fled to Mars, but Mars gave no comfort. Only dust and hunger. Then came the Unity Pact. The last leaders of Earth stood. Together, they rebuilt. They made laws. They made the Terran Defense Fleet, not to attack, but to guard. "We lost so much," Elena said. "We were broken. We chose to fight for our place in the stars." Holt watched the images in silence. "And now we hide our strength behind cold words, because we know the cost when words fail," Elena said. Later, the Valari envoy Sora returned to his ship. His mind was full. His heart was heavy. He had seen pictures, heard stories, and read history that shook him deeply. He sat with Captain Iracel in the quiet room. "They suffered more than I thought possible," Sora said. "They were almost destroyed, not once, but many times. And each time, they came back stronger." Iracel listened. "Did they say why they shared this with you?" "To show trust," Sora said, "and to show warning. They are not proud of their past, but they do not forget it." The captain nodded slowly. "Then they are wiser than they seem." Sora looked out the window. The human ships still stood in the dark, unmoving, but now he saw them differently. Not as weapons, but as shields. Shields for a world that had known too much pain. "They do not speak of peace icily," Sora said. "But I believe they want it. They just want to be sure we mean it too." Captain Iracel stood and walked to the front screen. He looked at the Terran fleet. "Then it is our turn to show them who we are." He called the crew to prepare a message. This time it would be more than words. It would be their history. The Valari, too, had known struggle. Long ago, their world had burned from greed and war. But they had changed. They chose learning over fighting. They grew slowly with care. They shared their story in light and image, and sent it to the Terran commander. Alina watched the Valari message in silence. She saw their rise from war to peace. She saw their pain, their hope, their growth. At the end of the message, a voice spoke. "We are not perfect, but we try. We hope to walk beside you, not in front, not behind, just beside." Elena closed the file. She looked at Holt. "They have scars too, just different ones." He gave a small nod. "Maybe that's something we can both understand?" Elena sent a short reply. "We hear you, we see you." This is a beginning. Outside, the stars still watched. But now, between two sides that once stood alone, a small bridge had begun to form, not made of stone, not made of light, but made of understanding. Asterix, the message from the humans, echoed through the Valari ship. "We hear you, we see you. This is a beginning." It was short, but it meant much. For the first time, a small feeling of hope filled the room. The crew looked at each other, not with fear, but with a quiet sense of wonder. Sora sat alone in his quarters, thinking about everything he had seen. The pictures of Earth's past were still fresh in his mind. So much war, so much loss, and yet humans had kept moving forward. They did not give up. He could feel their pain through their stories, but even more, he could feel their strength. Remembered the human commander's eyes. Calm, sharp, but also tired. Eyes of someone who had seen too much. She had not smiled once, but she had listened. And that was a start. Back on Earth, far from the silence of space, many eyes were watching. In a high building above the clouds, leaders of Earth met to discuss the contact. Some wanted to end it, others wanted more. It could be a trick, one voice said, too smooth, too perfect. Or they could be real, another said. They came with no weapons. They shared their story. That takes courage. An old woman stood. Her hair was white, her voice firm. We have built walls to protect us. But sometimes a gate must open. We will not lower our guard. But we will not close our eyes either. Let the fleet hold its place. Let the contact continue. Backed near the edge of the solar system, the human fleet stayed still. They did not move forward. They waited inside the light of peace, Captain. Erosel and Sora planned their next step. We cannot ask them to trust us quickly, said Erosel. No. They have learned trust the hard way. Then we give without asking, Sora said. Let them see what we do for others. Erosel looked thoughtful. You mean help others in front of them? Yes. We received a signal yesterday. A small mining ship in trouble near a broken moon. No one answered it, but we can. And we tell the humans first. A message was sent to the human fleet. It said we will assist a damaged vessel near the broken moon. No weapons. Only help. You're welcome to watch. The humans did not answer, but they followed. The Valari moved toward the broken moon. Mining ship was small and hurt. Its engines were weak. Its crew scared. The Valari sent repair teams, food, and medicine. They worked fast and kind. They asked nothing in return. One of the human ships came close. Not too close, just enough to see. They watched in silence. No guns turned, no threats made. When the repair was done, the small mining ship flew away, safe again. The Valari sent another message to the humans. This is who we are. We help because it is right, not because we want reward. Then, for the first time, the human ship replied. We saw. That night, Erosel stood alone and looked at the stars. He thought of the silence between the messages, the careful words, the slow trust. This is not easy, he said aloud. But it is real. Sora joined him. They are watching every move. Measuring us, as they should, said Erosel. We would do the same. On the Terran ship, Commander Drake sat at her desk. A message from the Council blinked on her screen. It said, continue contact. Watch, learn, protect. She looked at the stars too. Her face was still, but inside her mind, thoughts moved like waves. She had seen enemies before, machines with no heart, raiders who burned colonies, but the Valari were not like them. They came open, gave help without fear. She did not fully trust them yet, but a part of her, deep inside, wanted to believe. Maybe, she whispered, just maybe, we are not alone in choosing peace. No celebration came, no handshakes were made. But between ships, between minds, something had changed, not fast, but steady. And for two kinds who had lived through fire, that was enough to keep going. Commander Alina Drake stood in the control room of her ship, reading the new report from the observation team. The Valari had done what they said. They helped a broken mining ship, asked for nothing, and left without showing power. She could not ignore that. She had seen lies before. She had seen traps. But this did not feel like one. She remembered her early training. She had been told, always trust actions over words. So far, the Valari had acted with care, not pride. They had power, but they chose kindness. It stayed in her thoughts. Drake called her team together. Officers stood in a circle. The lights were dim, screens glowing. We have watched the Valari, we have studied their records, we have seen their choices. They move with care. But we cannot stop watching. We stay ready. But we will take a step. One envoy, one visit to their ship. Some officers looked unsure. One said, "What if they try something?" Drake replied, "Then we handle it. But if we do not step forward, we stay locked in the same place. We do not grow." Back on the Valari ship, Sora was in the garden room, a quiet space full of green and light. He looked up as a signal came in. A message from the humans. One word, request. It was short, but the meaning was clear. A human wanted to visit. Saw a show. Quickly went to Captain Arosel. "This is a test," Arosel said. "A deep one. We must be open, but strong. Show our truth, and nothing less." The Valari prepared their ship, not to impress, but to be honest. The garden was cleaned, the learning halls opened. The control decks stayed unchanged. They would hide nothing. A small human vessel arrived. One person stepped out. It was a man, tall, with dark eyes and a straight back. He wore a simple black suit, no weapons. No guard Soa greeted him with a bow. "Welcome to our ship. I am Sora, envoy of the Valari." The man gave a small nod. "Lieutenant Aaron Vale. I come with eyes and ears only." They walked through the ship together. Aaron said little. He looked at the walls, the lights, the soft machines. He listened to the quiet hum of the ship. In the learning hall, he saw young Valari studying music and star charts. In the garden, he saw old Valari telling stories to children. "You live gently," he said. "We try," Sora said, "but not all days are easy." Later, they sat in a room with wide windows that showed the stars. Sora offered a drink, a sweet green liquid. Aaron took a sip and placed the cup down. "Your ship has no weapons," Aaron said. "We have tools for safety," Sora replied. "But we believe showing weapons brings fear, so we show what we value most." Aaron nodded slowly. "That is not how we learned. We built peace by first building walls." Sora looked at him. "And do those walls make you feel safe now?" Aaron paused. He thought for a moment. Then he said, "They keep danger out, but they also keep us in." Sora spoke softly. "Maybe this is a door, not a wall." After the visit, Aaron returned to his ship. He sent a full report to Commander Drake. He told her what he saw, what he heard, and what he felt. "They do not pretend to be perfect," he wrote, "but they are real. They live with care." Drake read every word, slowly, carefully. Then she sent a message to the Valari. "Your truth has been seen. Now see ours." Not. The Valari received the message and watched a new file sent by the humans. It showed parts of Earth not in books. Cities full of life, families holding hands, children laughing under the sun. It showed art, music, dance, and care. It showed that humans had not only survived, they had learned to live. Sora watched the file with tears in his eyes. It was not just strength, it was spirit. He turned to Arousal. "We saw their weapons. We saw their ships. But this is their soul." And in that moment, both sides took one more step. A step towards something more than safety. A step towards something real. Asterisk, the stars outside the Valari ship shone quietly. But inside, hearts were full of questions and hope. Sora stood with Captain Erosal in the command hall. The message from the humans had been played many times. It was more than words. It was a gift. A look into the real life of humans. They saw laughter, love, struggle, and joy. Not only war, not only pain. This was something new. Something different from what their computers had feared. Sora could feel it. The humans were strong, yes, but they were also human. "They trusted us," Sora said. "They let us see who they really are." Erosel nodded. "Now it is our turn again." He decided to send a new kind of message. Not data, not records, but a story. One voice, one truth. Sora would speak it. Message. From his heart, he stood in front of the camera, wore simple white. His voice was calm. To the people of Terra, he began, "We once lived in fear, too. Long ago, our world nearly ended. The skies were black, the oceans dry. We fought over power, and in the end, no one won." He paused, but we learned, we changed. It's not fast, not easy, but we did. We chose peace, not because it was simple, but because it was right. We chose to help, not to rule. And we chose to listen, even when it was hard. He looked into the lens. Now, we meet you. Strong, careful, wise. You do not speak many words. But we hear you. We see the weight you carry. You carry it with honor. We do not ask you to forget your past. We do not ask you to lower your shields. We ask only this. Walk beside us. No one ahead, no one behind, just beside. The message was sent. On the Terran ship, Commander Drake listened. She did not move. She let every word settle. Then she stood and looked out at the alien ship. "He speaks from truth," she said. "Not for power, not for show." Lieutenant Holt was quiet for a while. "Oh." Then he said, "I never thought I would see this day, a real chance." Drake nodded. "We are always told to expect the worst, but sometimes the worst never comes." A new order came from Earth. The Council had seen the message. They had watched every moment of contact. Their answer was clear. Continue. Learn. And let them learn us. Drake gave permission for another visit. This time it would be more open. Small team would visit the Valari ship. No weapons. No hidden tools. Just eyes, ears, and hearts. Sora greeted the new group with care. They showed the ship again, but this time with more detail. They opened the story rooms. They let the humans speak with Valari, children, artists, teachers. One human, a young woman named Lena, spoke with an old Valari painter. He showed her a long canvas full of color and light. "This shows our journey," he said. "From dark to light, from fear to hope." She smiled. "We try to do the same." In the garden, a child gave a human visitor a small stone. It was warm, glowing gently. "This is a memory stone," the child said. "You hold it and remember your best day." The human held it with care. He thought of his sister's smile, and the stone glowed brighter. Back on Earth, the news spread. First contact was real. It was peaceful. People watched the images with wonder. For the first time in many years, they felt not just safe, but curious. A boy in a small town asked his teacher, "Do you think they have games like us?" A woman in a hospital whispered, "I hope they know music. I would love to hear their songs." In space, on the human ship, Drake wrote a final message for the day. "We see your truth. We share ours. Let this not be a moment. Let it be a beginning." On the Valari ship, Sora read the words. He stood in the garden, looking at the stars. "We walked in silence for so long," he said. "But now we are not alone." Captain Arousal stood beside him. No, not alone, and not afraid. Above them, the stars were the same, but everything else had changed. Not with fire, not with fear, but with steps. Small, steady, and real. The days that followed were quiet, but full of change. The human and Valari ships still floated in space, far from any planet, but now they were not just watchers, they were neighbors, had shared words, hopes, stories, and fears. It was time to decide what would come next. Commander Elena Drake looked at her screen. Messages had come in from Earth. People were asking questions. Schools wanted to teach about the Valari. Artists wanted to paint them. Children wanted to speak to them. Drake had spent many years in space. She had fought battles and lost friends. She never thought she would be part of something like this. Not war, not defense, but something better. She stood in the center of the command room and spoke to her crew. "The Council wants us to move forward," she said. "It's not as guards, but as builders. A small group of Valari will come aboard. We will share with them not just our systems, but our way of life." The crew listened. Some nodded, some stayed quiet. It was not easy to change. But they trusted her. On the Valari ship, Sora and Captain Erosel got the same message. A chance to visit the human ship. It's not just for talk, but for learning. Sora prepared a team. He chose people from many parts of the ship. A teacher, doctor, a young pilot, and himself. They wore simple clothes, no symbols, no signs of rank. When they entered the human ship, they were met by Commander Drake and her team. No weapons, no walls, just people. Drake gave a short welcome. "We offer you safety, and we ask for respect," Sora replied. "You have our full respect and our open minds." They walked through the ship together. The Valari saw training rooms, food halls, quiet spaces where humans rested. They saw pictures on the walls, medals in glass cases, names written in honor of the past. In one room, they found a group of young human cadets. They were learning space law and first contact rules. The teacher paused and welcomed the Valari. Young human asked, "Do you believe in peace always? Even if someone tries to harm you?" Sora answered, "We believe in peace first, but we protect those who cannot protect themselves. We do not run from danger. We try to stop it with wisdom." Another cadet asked, "What do you fear most?" The Valari doctor spoke, "That we close our hearts, that we stop listening, that we forget how to care." The room went quiet. The answers were not simple, but they were true. Later, the Valari shared a meal with the humans. It was not fancy. It just warm food and quiet talk. They spoke of stars, of old stories, of music, and even jokes. Drake watched them from a distance. She saw smiles. She saw understanding. She saw something she had not seen. In years trust that night, Sora stood in front of a human window, looking at Earth in the distance. It was small, but bright. He thought of everything they had done, every step, every word. Drake joined him. "Look like someone deep in thought," she said. "I am thinking of what this means," Sora replied. "Not just for us, but for others. Others will watch us," Drake said. "Some will be afraid. Some will want to break what we build." Sora nodded. "But if we stay strong, stay honest, they will see." Drake looked at him. "Do you think peace can last?" "Only if we keep choosing it," Sora said. Every day. A few days later, both sides agreed to share more. A small station would be built between their ships. It's not controlled by one, but by both. A place where humans and Valari could meet, work, and learn. It would take time. Mistakes would happen. But the foundation was there. A message was sent to both planets. One sentence only. We are not alone, and we are not enemies. On Earth, people cheered. On the Valari world, lights were lit in every home. Not because the stars had changed, but because something greater had begun, not with power, not with fear, but with choice. The choice to understand and the choice to hope.